Hey, what is up guys? YGO Thinking Space here, back to go over my YCS Sydney 2025 deck profile, which I unfortunately scrubbed out X3, but I wanted to show off the bits of spice that I put in this deck, which I believed I was able to make card choices in the deck profile that actually helped the Maliss deck play well into matchups and scenarios in which that it struggled with. So let's get into it. So the first part of it's going to be very cookie cutter. So we're going to start off with 3 Dormouse, 3 White Rabbit, 3 Chessy Cat, 3 Mouse and Underground, Gold Sark, and then the 3 traps. So with the Maliss Bestial build, you need to max up on all your names, especially the Chessy Cat, because the deck has moved from a 1-card combo deck to a 2-card combo deck. Cards that I didn't play were the Dotscaper, the Terraforming, and the Allures. Didn't play these cards because Allure is another card that loses to Lancea, even though it is a really strong consistency piece. I also wanted to play more hand traps and more extenders rather than the actual Allures themselves. That's why I decided to take them out. Didn't play the Terraforming because the field spell is only once per turn, and I felt that the number here was just fine, and that having the 1 Terraforming didn't significantly increase the consistency. Dotscaper wasn't played because it's a bit of a brick. Some Maliss players like playing the Dotscaper, some don't. I think a majority of people have started to move away from Dotscaper, but I think it's also worth mentioning that Dotscaper is a really strong engine piece in this deck, and if you were to go back to the Terahertz and the Save Worm engine in the extra deck, it would be even more worth playing this again. For your extenders, we play 1 Magnamut, 3 Druis Worm, 3 Baldrake, and then for my personal spice, I opted to play 3 Parallel Exceed. In other Maliss Bestial builds, people would have played 3 Bestial Saronir, and it's really strong, don't get me wrong, but I felt that the deck needed to have more outs to play through Lancea, and that's what Parallel Exceed did for me. There are a few reasons why people chose to play Bestial Saronir here. One is that if you start with Bestial Saronir and a Maliss name, there's a combo where you can go through Firewall, use Bestial Saronir to send a Magnamut, and then with Firewall bounce the Magnamut back to your hand, so you have a Bestial guaranteed on your opponent's turn to act as disruption, or as an extender to banish your White Binder to make your plays there. The other reason that people opted to play Bestial Saronir is because there's an extra card called Goblin's Crazy Beast, which is a rank 6 monster that you can make, which really helps in the Ryzel matchup. The reason why I opted not to play the Bestial Saronir was because, once again, Parallel Exceed is an extender that helps you play through Lancea that you can main deck. It also still helps you play through a lot of hand traps like Imperms, Veilers, Ash Blossoms, and I also felt that the deck in itself had enough ways to play into the Ryzel board, and thus, if I needed to make a concession to play better into Lancea, this was the easiest card to take out. For your non-engine, we play 3 Shifter, 3 Ash Blossom, 3 Veiler, 3 Imperm, 3 Metal Tronus, and then we also play 1 Talents and 1 Droll and Lockbird. So the non-engine lineup is actually pretty solid. The awkward additions here are probably just the Droll and Lockbird here. The reason why I play 1 Droll and Lockbird here is because I'm actually siding 1 more, and that allows me to have post-side 5 cards in Ash Blossom and 2 Droll to use against Molchamis, and also just to have 2 Drolls for the Mitsurugi and the Mermail matchups. After the YCS, I think it's probably best for me to change 1 Nibiru for the second Droll, just so I don't have that awkward Droll in the side deck. And potentially, it may be worth changing a Veiler to an Imperm, just as another crossout target, or maybe removing the Nibirus entirely, because all the best decks in the meta right now have a way to play through or under Nibiru. What's also worth noting in this build is that I actually chose not to play the Dominus Impulse. The reason why I chose not to play Dominus Impulse was because my theory in the non-engine lineup was to be able to play the most impactful non-engine while also being able to use it as freely as I can. Dominus Impulse has the deficit of, after you use it from your hand, you can't use light monster effects, which turns off your effect Veilers and your Nibirus. Now there is an avenue you can take here by removing the Nibirus and then replacing the effect Veilers with Imperms. So the reason why people play Effect Veiler over Impermanence is because Effect Veilers can be used at any timing after or before you use a Bestial monster, whereas if it was an Impermanence, you have to use the Imperm first before you use a Bestial monster. What some Maliss players do is they actually replace the Effect Veiler with the Imperm, and then they would replace the Nibiru with a Molchami, like Molchami Full Loss. The reason why I didn't choose to play Mochami Full Loss is because number one, it's a bit expensive, so budget. But number two, it's because it's also a card that you can go neg1 with if your opponent happens to ash it, cross out it, or call by it. And for Maliss, I really wanted to make sure all of my non-engine was as impactful as it could possibly be. Okay, onto the side deck, we play one Lingaribo, one Link Decoder, Splash Mage, SP Little Knight, Hazard Lizardos, IP Masquerena, the 3 Maliss names that you need to play, Access Code, Nightmare Griffin, Firewall, Abao, and then these 2 flex spots, well, you play Detonator for Metaltronus, and then Typhon. Typhon was really good in the matchups where you were forced to grind, and also just really good going second into the Ryziel matchup if they just had a lot more to work with and against. It's also worth noting that for my particular build, although some people choose not to play the Lingaribo here, it's more important for me to play Lingaribo in this build because of Parallel Exceed. Lastly, for the side deck, we have the 1 Droll, 3 Ghost Reaper and Winter Cherries for the Maliss Mirror match and for the Ryziel matchup. We played 2 Artifact Lancea and 1 Chaos Hunter. So I chose to play the Chaos Hunter here instead of the 3rd Lancea because I wanted to have it as a target for a crossout designator. You don't need to do this, but I really wanted to maximize my ability to play through Artifact Lancea and Chaos Hunter. The counters that you can play into Chaos Hunter include Nightmare Cerberus, Metaltronus, and also in my build Parallel Exceed. However, one of the complications that I found was that for a hand of a Maliss monster and a Bestial, if you normal summon a Maliss monster and go into Link Decoder, and your opponent then chains Chaos Hunter, there is no extender that you can use to play into the Chaos Hunter to make a Link 2 into Nightmare Cerberus to destroy the Chaos Hunter. That's why for those one-off situations, having the crossout designator there just to call out the Chaos Hunter is really important. This might be a little bit overdone, but I wanted to increase my chances of drawing more outs into Chaos Hunter and Lancea just by having it as a crossout designated target. Having a Chaos Hunter here is worse than playing a Lancea for the Maliss Mirror match, but it's still impactful, and if they can't get rid of it, then the Chaos Hunter stays and it just causes more troubles for them. Lastly, we played 1 Call by the Grave, of course, and then the Harpy's Feather Duster, and then for my last 3 spots, I chose to play extra deck cards. So as another out to Chaos Hunter, we're playing Nightmare Cerberus, and then we're also playing G-Golem Crystal Heart and Transcode Talker. These 2 cards in particular help you play through Lancea and make a full board. And the only way you're able to do that is if you play Parallel Exceed. So I'm going to show you the combo that I use to make a full board under Lancea. Okay, so for this combo to play through a Lancea, you need to open any Maliss name and a Parallel Exceed. We're just going to use Chesty Cat because it does the least in this situation. So in your draw phase, when your opponent activates Artifact Lancea to play through a Lure of Darkness, here's what you would do. You would go normal summon Chesty Cat, and then you link off into your Lingaribo. Parallel Exceed activates in hand to special summon to Lingaribo's pointed zone, and then becomes level 4. Parallel Exceed effect to special summon another one from your deck. From here, you'll link off 1 Parallel Exceed and Lingaribo into a Splash Mage, and then you link off the Parallel Exceed into the Link Decoder. You'll use Splash Mage's effect to special summon your mouse name from your graveyard, and then with Splash Mage and Link Decoder, you'll link them off into a Transcode Talker. Link Decoder's effect will special summon itself from graveyard, and then Transcode Talker's Ignition effect will summon Splash Mage from the graveyard. Splash Mage and your mouse name will go into White Binder, and then White Binder's Ignition effect will set you your GWC 06. From here, you'll use your Transcode Talker and Link Decoder to go into your G-Golem Crystal Heart in this area, because then you'll be using your G-Golem Crystal Heart to special summon Transcode Talker into the zone that it points to here. Then you can take your G-Golem Crystal Heart and White Binder to go into your Red Ransom. Red Ransom will set you your field spell as follow-up for your following turn. And then Red Ransom and Transcode Talker will go into Firewall Dragon. Now, as opposed to just passing with nothing against a Artifact Lancea, ending on a Firewall Dragon with GWC 06 is so much better than that. Then on your opponent's turn, you can go GWC 06, special summon your White Binder, co-link to your Firewall Dragon, and then White Binder's effect, you can banish your Red Ransom. Red Ransom will summon itself back, banishing a White Rabbit as well. And then on summon, you can go Red Ransom, effect Chainlink 1 to search, Rabbit Chainlink 2 to special summon. Rabbit will summon itself back, Red Ransom will add you another field spell, and then White Rabbit will set you your MTP07. So under Lancea, with your Maliss name and a Parallel Exceed, you can get 1 bounce, Graveyard Interruption, and a non-target field banish, as well as adding 2 cards for follow-up on your next turn. This combo is the main reason why I chose to go with this build and to play Parallel Exceed, because I really wanted to have a way to play into Artifact Lancea other than just straight passing. And even though this is more of a spreadsheet combo where your opponent is more likely to open other hand traps to interrupt your plays here, at the very least, you're forcing your opponent to use their hand traps to stop you even more, where on the following turn you can push for another play, as opposed to your opponent being able to keep those hand traps just to use again on your following crackback turn and stop you again. So the reason why I think this combo is really strong is because it threatens a full board through Lancea, it forces your opponent to use more interactions and use up the hand advantage. That's it for this deck profile. I'm going to be posting more videos on how a Parallel Exceed helps the Maliss deck, as well as more interesting tech choices you can make for Maliss to play in future formats. If you enjoyed this content, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video.